The FAA and the NTSB here as well, which they'll be speaking here in just a minute. I just wanted to come up for a couple minutes and introduce myself, welcome you, and just thank everyone that's been involved. I think I almost left off Mr. Dan Cogan, our airport manager, who's done a tremendous job organizing all of this over the last couple of days, and probably a sleepless night last night. So, like I said, we're thankful you're here. We hate the circumstances, but we're very appreciative that it was not much worse than it was. At this time, I would like to turn it over to the NTSB, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm Ralph Hicks, a senior investigator with the NTSB. I'm out of Atlanta, Georgia. We put together a team here today to start the initial investigation of this accident that occurred yesterday about 3:40 p.m. The flight originated in Statesville, North Carolina, about 20 minutes prior to the accident, so it was a very short flight. Weather conditions at the time were visual flight rules conditions, good weather basically with calm winds. We were able to obtain surveillance video from buildings around the area that include footage of the accident happening, and we were able to observe those footages this morning. It showed us quite a bit. The airplane basically bounced at least twice before coming down hard on the right main landing gear. And you can actually see the right main landing gears collapsing on the video. The airplane continued down the runway, off to the end, through a fence, and it came to a stop behind me here on Highway 91. The aircraft itself is a Cessna Citation Latitude, a 680, two cockpit seats for the pilots and 9 passenger seats for 11 total capacity. It has a Pratt & Whitney Canada 306 turbofan, 2 turbofan engines built in 2015, registered to JRM Air LLC. Our process is we're going to be on scene for 2 or 3 days documenting the perishable evidence at the site, and then we're going to start going into the cockpit, into the fuselage, starting to cut the airplane up and document all the flight controls, the engine controls, taking a look at all the systems very methodically. This airplane was equipped with a cockpit voice recorder. That recorder will be sent to our headquarters in Washington, D.C. for download probably next week. It did not have a flight data recorder. However, there were avionics on board that recorded some flight data that's going to be very useful to us, and we're going through that right now. Like I said, there were 2 pilots on board. Both were professionally trained pilots. We have spoken to both pilots today, and the information that they provided us is very consistent with the video. The airport itself the runway is about 4,500 feet long. The airplane was capable of landing at this runway. There's no operating control tower here. It's not equipped with one, so the pilots basically call on their radio frequency and see and avoid procedures for the airport. We were able to walk the runway completely from one end to the wreckage site. We were able to find skid marks and tire track marks that are consistent with this airplane. So we recorded those, and we found a few pieces of small debris that were along the runway as well. We're going to be releasing a preliminary report in about 7 days, and that will be on our website at ntsb.gov. It will give basic factual information. We don't draw any conclusions at this time. This is the fact-finding phase of the investigation only. So I won't be entertaining any questions about calls or any speculation. Any questions? It will eventually be made available to the public, but for right now, we're using it for our investigation purposes, and we need to keep it inside the investigation team. We don't know right now. It's one of the things we're going to be getting into. We're going to be looking at the systems in great detail, and also going through the information provided by the pilots, and also the information that's on our recorders. Excuse me? Yes, they were. Yes, sir. You can visually see the airplane balloon up and come back down. Exactly how high it went, we're going to be using our flight data information that we have from the avionics to tell us that, but we can't tell exactly from the video right now.
Hard landing though, would you say?
A firm landing. It was described as firm.
Details about where on the runway, how far down the runway the plane
We can't tell that right now. There's no definite touchdown marks on the runway made by this airplane. So we're going to go back to our data that we're going over right now.
How busy is this highway normally? Did it come close to hitting any oncoming traffic?
I'm not aware. I don't know. I think it's a fairly well-used highway, though. The aircraft actually went down into the ditch and came back up before it came to rest. That's speculation. I can't really say that, but we're very happy to be here today talking to them as survivors.
Have you interviewed already the Earnhardt family?
Yes, we have. And their comments were consistent with the video. And that's all I can say.
You can't say how they described it.
Probably about 2 days. We have a crew from Griffin, Georgia that's going to disassemble the airplane, take it to another facility where we can do a more detailed layout and examination. And until that takes place, we go through it methodically, system by system, to make sure that we don't corrupt any evidence along the way. So we have a very systematic approach to doing that. But it'll probably take a couple of days. And then once it goes down to Griffin, we'll reconvene our group and go through it again in greater detail.
How long did the plane have to stop?
The accident site's about 1,000 feet past the end of the runway.
So we're talking about seconds here?
Just a few seconds. Just a few seconds. I don't have the exact number, but just a few seconds. It was very quick. They were able to evacuate before the fire ensued. I can't say that for exactly. We're going to go over video and take a look at that too.
Can you tell us if all the passengers, not just the pilots but the Earnhardt family, were they properly strapped in?
As far as we know, they were, yes.
How were they able to escape from the plane so quickly?
They were able to use their procedures and use the doors on the aircraft to get out.
Are we talking like just mere less than a minute or seconds before they got out?
A matter of 1 or 2 minutes, very quickly. It appears that the fire was a post-crash fire. No, we're not hearing of any communications that indicate any kind of problem. I'll take one more question.
How far down the runway did it actually, the initial touchdown? Was it very close to the end? I mean, you said you found some debris. Did it appear like it was beyond what normally is expected with a plane of that size?
Yeah, we don't see any indications that the initial touchdown was too long, based on the video. But we are going to look at the flight data information and nail that down closer.
And one point of correction, the plane, according to the video that we have, was on fire before they got out.
Okay. Thank you. One more. The pilots can choose the direction of landing. It's not a towered airport, so based on the wind information, it was calm winds. They could pick the direction. That's all I'm going to take. Thank you.
Any questions for the city? As soon as they can remove the airplane within a couple days, and we hope to have some of these lanes open prior to that, having a north and south lane on this side, I believe, Chief, if I'm correct, maybe north and south in these 2 lanes.
Yes, that's correct. We're waiting on some structural assessments of the roadway from TDOT, and they're performing them at this time. So when that's determined that the roadway's safe, and when we're notified by the removal company, we'll be able to regain some traffic back on the road.
Obviously, this is a busy weekend with a race going on nearby, but can you tell us if the crews practice drills? Obviously, at big airports, they're constantly going through drills, but do you know if the crews here practice an airplane crash scenario?
That would be a question for Dan Cogan, who's our airport manager. I'm not sure the answer to that question.
Do you know about the traffic situation at the time on the road? Like, did the plane come close to hitting any oncoming traffic?
I'm not aware. I think it's just the grace of the good Lord that a vehicle didn't get struck by the plane. It's a very heavily trafficked roadway, so
There was a lot of things, as bad as this accident was, there's a lot of good things that happened. One being that everyone walked away. The second being at 3:40 in the afternoon, after school had just let out a couple miles up the road. There were no cars involved in this accident. So there's just a lot of good things that happened that came out of this. We're just happy everyone walked away, and no one on the ground was injured as well. I'm not sure if there was any.
I'm not aware of that information. I'm sorry.
Can you explain what the Department of Transportation is doing? It looks like they're assessing what was going under the road.
They are. The fuel from the aircraft resulting in the crash was also burning in the drainage system underneath the roadway. So they're here to assess the damage to make sure that the road structure underneath will be able to handle the traffic when we're able to open the roadway.
Anything else?
What's your name, Chief? Can you say and spell your name?
Jason Shaw, Jasonshaw.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you
Have
all
a great
very much.
afternoon.
Thank you. To the NTSB gentleman has requested that after this interview that we set up a press area on down the street here before they'll be able to do anything with crash wreckage since we're so close. Thank you all very much for that.